Hey guys, it's Eddie the Magic Monk. Welcome to another maths lesson. Today we are going to continue with the Pix formula, and if you have not done part 1 of this tutorial, please go through that video first before doing this video, otherwise you might get slightly confused. So if you guys remember last lesson, we talked about how to find the area of a shape provided that the shape has straight lines and it goes through some dots on a grid. So for example, if I have a shape that looks like this, okay, then you can use Pix formula to find the area of this shape because it goes through all of these dots. Now, what if I give you a shape that does not have straight lines and does not go through dots like this? So for example, if I give you a shape that looks just a little bit like this, okay, it doesn't go through any dots. So how would you find the area of this shape? So the only thing you can do in this case is to simulate a shape that is very close to this by joining the dots with straight lines. Okay, so again, you're going to start from here, and let's say you join to this dot, and then from here, well, it looks like this dot is the closest, and then from here, I guess join this dot, 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 and then just keep going all the way to the end. Okay, so you can only find the area of this pink shape and use that to simulate the area of the yellow shape, the shape enclosed by the yellow line. Okay, so what is the area of this shape? Well, let's write down the formula first. The formula is A equals I plus B divided by 2 minus 1. Right, what's I? I is the number of dots inside the shape. So I is 1, 2, 3, 3 dots inside the shape. B is the number of dots that are on the boundary. So starting with this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. B is 10, so it'll be A equals 3 plus 10 divided by 2 minus 1, which is 3 plus 5 minus 1, which is 8 minus 1, which is 7. So the area of this shape is approximated to 7 units squared. Units squared. Right? Why is it not centimeters squared? Because nobody has said that this is a 1 centimeter grid. No one has told you that this is 1 centimeter. So we don't know. Whether this is 7 centimeters squared. So therefore, the only thing we can say is that this is 7 units squared. And what that means is there are approximately 7 squares inside this shape. If you count how many squares there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these two squares make up 7, right? Because these two triangles added together makes up the 7th square. In other words, you can say Pix formula tells you how many squares lie inside the shape. Okay, so that brings us to the next problem, which is what happens if the distance between each of the dots is not 1 centimeter. So if I told you guys right now that instead of the dots being 1 centimeters apart, which is what we did in the previous tutorial, I suddenly tell you guys that between each dot it's, let's say, 5 meters apart, right? Because this could be, let's say, a block of land or something like that, a park or something like that, or it'd be a pretty small park. But let's say that each dot is 5 meters in real life apart from each other. So what would the area be in terms of meters squared? So what you now need to do is you need to find the area of one box in the grid, of one block in the grid. What is this area? What is this area? The area of one square in the grid. Okay, one square enclosed by 4 dots. So the area of one square is equal, oops, hate it when that happens, is equal to side times side. Each side is 5 meters, so it's 5 meters times 5 meters. Okay, this is S, not 5. Side times side equals 5 times 5, which is 25 meters squared. Okay, so if the area of one square is 25 meters squared, and this pink shape has 7 squares, so unit squared just means 7 squares. 7 squares. So what is the area? All you have to do is multiply by the number of squares by the area of each square. So all you got to do is you go area equals 7 times 25, and then you just write down what the answer is. So the answer is 175 meters squared is the real life area of this shape. Let's give you guys another real life example and see if you can do it. Okay, so this is a slightly harder problem. It says find the area of the suburb, and it gives you a grid, but it doesn't give you the length between each dot. It just tells you the real life length between one end of the grid to the other end of the grid is 40 kilometers. So how would you find the area of this suburb? Well, firstly, we will just go through the Pix formula, which tells you how many squares are within this green shape. So area, or the number of squares in terms of the area in terms of number of squares inside the green shape is I plus B over 2 minus 1. So I is the number of dots inside the shape. Now, before we do all of this, I probably should have already redrawn this shape to make it straight and go through the dots. So let's start from here, go through this dot, go through this dot, go through this dot, go to this dot, go to this dot. Alright, whatever the closest dot is to the edges, that's the best we can use to approximate the shape. So then I have one dot is inside the shape, I is the inside, B is the boundary. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you just go area equals 1 plus 8 over 2 minus 1, which is 1 plus 4 minus 1, which is 4. 4 squares. 4 squares are inside the shape. Approximate, okay? Pix formula, when you get a random shape like this, you can only approximate the area. Okay, so we got 4 squares, so how will we know the area? Because 1 square, we have no idea what the area of 1 square is. But we know that from one end of the grid to the other is 40 kilometers. So how many spaces are there from one end to another? There is 1 dot. Let's use another color so you can see it. So from here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces, 5 gaps, or 5 different lengths. So therefore, we're going to go 40 divided by 5. Okay, because there are 5 gaps between the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 gaps between the dots. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So between each dot, the space is 8 kilometers. 8 kilometers between each dot. And it's obviously a square grid because it's Pick's formula. So it's a grid. Somewhere in the problem, it'll have to tell you the dots are made up of a square grid. So it's 8 by 8. So the area of 1 square is 8 times 8, which is 64 kilometers squared. So you're going to multiply 4 by 64 is the area, which is 256 kilometers squared. That is the answer. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.